Hey y'all, I got one more video to do. One more video. And because I realized that I said I was going to do a video on, I was going to do a video on, on art, right? I had to remember. I don't write any of this down, so I just kind of, I'm just vlogging. So, I want to talk about something. Art. Alright. An artist does art because he loves the craft, the art, and expression. Artists. Artists are typically not business people. Their focus is not on the business, it's generally on artists. Now, if you want to make a living at your art, you have to focus on the business. But in general, artists are more concerned with art. And at some point in my early ages of painting, I realized that in order to get into the galleries and to do galleries, you have to come up with a style and continually reiterate that style and do it over and over again, and so that people can expect a certain type of art from you, a certain type of product from you. And that's the thing, that it became product at that point. To me, it wasn't art at that point. It was just a product, And so I couldn't understand, well, how did these so-called artists, painters, illustrators, would do the same thing over and over again? And they would do it and they would vary it and make it, but it's the same. Well, they have a crow in it, and then they have an Indian woman, and then they switch it around. Now it's a crow in it and the Indian woman, and then it's a crow and an Indian woman, and then, it's the same crow and Indian woman. They changed the colors a little bit, but in general, it was the same thing over and over again, and that would sell. It would be a product. To me, it wasn't art. So to me, there's a difference between what is art and what is product. Now, when I first moved to New York, and one of the things I wanted to do with make a living as an artist was not as an artist, was actually an illustrator. So I wanted to at one point be a fine artist, and I figured a fine artist just paint, but that's not really the truth. Once you maybe make once you've had a career, done a certain paintings, then you get exalted, or acknowledged as an artist, then that's different. There's huge problems in that whole industry because they don't consider a lot of digital art as being art, and there are digital artists, and there's ZBrush artists that are doing beautiful art and stuff like that. But basically, coming up with a marketable style, it's questionable whether it's art or not. Now, I want to just say this really quick about the hip-hop artists. A lot of them are not artists. They are just creating product. And so let me jump back to when I actually talked to an agent. When I got to New York, I talked to an agent, and I went to the Society Illustrator. I was very young, and I saw what was actually. I got that right. There we go. Had to have the right lean, what I mean. So anyway, so then I finally realized once I got to an agency that they said, well, I need 6 pieces. When I went to Society of Illustrators, and I went to the house as a Society of Illustrators, and I saw that art in there. It was beautiful. They're excellent craftsmen, and they're beautiful artwork, and it's just beautiful. And I've never seen any artwork that crisp. And so So I never saw that. I never saw it until you actually see it with your own two eyes. You realize how good this stuff is. And so to me, yeah, it's a art form. It's very great. But if you ask most illustrators, if you ask Norman Rockwell, or if you ask Disney or something, they never tell you that they produced artwork. Very famous illustrators, rarely call their work art. Rarely. Now we use the term very, very, very loosely, but to me, in a form of it, in the heart of it, there's a form of art in it. But so and a lot of it has to do with originality. So if you copying and going and taking a bunch of other stuff, match it and podge it together and calling it a new form of art, it's not really art. It's not expression. It's not really true expression. And it's not meant to be, because you're trying to sell a product. You know your artist, you know your market. You know your audience, you know your market. And so you are basically grabbing a hodgepodge of stuff, putting together and formulating it into a product. And so that's not really art. Matter of fact, speaking of that, and some of the previous talk about, if the devil didn't create a goat. He didn't create horns. He didn't create bat wings. He didn't create goat hooves. And so to represent these all as and put it into a baffa, that's not even original. God made all that stuff. God made the goats. God made the bat wings. But God made the hooves and stuff like that. So there ain't nothing original about the damn devil. Okay. So I just wanted to add that onto it. And so at the same point, there's a lot of so-called artists going around and grabbing pieces of this, and this person is creative. This is a person who is focusing on originality. This is a expression and stuff like that. And they're copying their expression, their form of originality, their individualism, and incorporating it and making it into a product. And that is not art. Okay? So now, it's still beautiful. It's still wonderful. It's still enjoying and stuff like that. But it is a beautiful, enjoyable product, a musical product. And really, if anything, the form of the way to that it comes together, the form of how it is more of an art form. The technique, the technologies, and all of that to bring it together is more of the art form to me. So that I totally agree with. The collaboration, the synergy in which people work off each other in order to snap and grab. That's the art. So I just wanted to do that. Now, I do call myself an artist. I don't know if I'm doing creating art right now. But I do, I try to put my feelings and stuff like that into it. So, last point about that. People who are generally, and this is why I had to mention, the devil and stuff. People who are not focused on the purity, the integrity, the originality of the art that they're creating, that are focused on the money that they can make and how much money. That's where their art form is. How much money they can make. And that's why you got cats supposedly selling their soul to the devil, because all they try to do is make more money, and if they sell their soul, that's just something else that they can get some more money for. I'm just joking, what I'm saying though. Their focus on is making money. Rappers, how many sales they have, that's the competition. That's not about the art. It's like what is selling. They didn't say originality. So that's not art. You know, they're not in the business of creating art. They're in the business of making money off of something that they call art. And calling it art. Their whole job is making money. How much money, how many records they can sell, and stuff like that. It's not how beautiful it is or whatever. They're not, or how original. That has nothing to do with it. So that's why you got folks. They focusing on making money. They're not focused on producing art. How many sales? Okay, that's enough. All right. So I just wanted to say that's why you got, all this stuff. Their focus is on the money. It's not on the art. They're the next style that come up, they'll change their style to sell more money and to feed the audience. So that's what that's about. And let me say something. And let me end on a positive note. That's not wrong with making money, but what gaineth a man if he profited the whole. What profiteth a man if he gaineth the whole world and loses his soul? Penny wise, pound foolish. So it'd be nice, But the sad part about it is if you do art, then people don't. You're doing it for your expression. They don't necessarily understand it. But there's a beautiful thing. You can't always create art. There's some beauty that come out of it too. All right, that's my last video. Bye for today. I gotta work, and I've just been so lazy and distracted, and I've had so many little problems. But I'm gonna get through it. God bless you all. Love you all. Bye.